Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to CAIR-Minnesota's Ramadan fundraising virtual fundraiser. We will love to see all of you, inshallah, tonight. We're going to start off showing you some of the highlights of some of the work that CAIR has done, a lot of its media coverage of some of the work that we have done. And we will be starting our full program around 6 p.m. So stay tuned as we get rolling for that. I really appreciate all of you for joining us today for the CAIR-Minnesota fundraising. Used to be a dinner or iftar, but now it's a virtual fundraising dinner. So, all right. So here we go.
We're now looking back on the Chauvin trial security plans and the controversy surrounding it. The efforts included state patrol and local police and National Guard. The Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR-Minnesota, has been critical of the extra law enforcement presence. But operation leaders are defending their work, saying that they achieved their goal of protecting both property and people, especially when protests broke out during the police riot in Brooklyn Center.
Realize that it's not the protesters who are the problem, it's the law enforcement.
People have the right to their own opinion, and I would say to that, like, nobody wants to see military on our streets, including myself, but we had to be prepared. We cannot allow what happened last year to allow in our great city.
Operation Safety Net could ramp back up for Derek Chauvin's sentencing, which is scheduled for June 25th, and for the other 3 former officers' trial, set to start in August.
Well, in Washington, the House passes a bill that would overturn President Trump's travel ban and restrict some of his power, too. This is called the No Ban Act, and it passed the House last night. It would repeal the Trump administration's travel ban. It expands anti-discrimination provisions in immigration law, and it limits the ability of U.S. presidents in the future to restrict entry to the country based upon religion. The Council on American Islamic Relations says the bill's passage sends a message, even though it's not likely to pass in the Republican-controlled Senate.
This law is fundamentally at the heart of our Constitution, and I think failure to pass it will diminish the value of the freedom of religion clause. Well, many Republicans have criticized this bill as simply reckless and irresponsible. The Senate has not yet announced even if it will get a hearing in that chamber.
A group in Stillwater spent their holiday showing support for a woman who says she was harassed there. Dozens rallied at Lowell Park in response to a Muslim discrimination incident that happened in downtown Stillwater last week. WCCO's Mariel Mo shows us their powerful message.
It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this world.
Love was the message this group shouted along the edge of the St. Croix River Saturday morning. This rally was put on by Stillwater community members and the Council on American Islamic Relations. It was to show their support for Sophia Rashid, a Muslim woman who says she was harassed by a white supremacy group at a Stillwater restaurant last week. Rashid posted these pictures on her Facebook page, showing a biker club called Aryan Cowboys. She says the motorcyclist harassed her and her 4-year-old daughter to a point where she questioned her safety. This picture shows restaurant staff escorting her daughter out of the restaurant.
I was in shock, having, children that are of color. And so I told my children not to come down to Stillwater unless they were with me or their father.
Marita Metcalf helped organize this rally. She was impressed by how many came out to show their support on a holiday and in extreme heat. So she made sure to keep participants safe.
We had many places that donated water. So we've got water and ice, and then we also have the medic tent that we have here.
Many young people also showed up to share their voice.
It is important that we stand up for what's right and be vocal.
For Sindra Nichols, it was her first experience with activism.
It was important to me to do that on a holiday that is supposed to represent America, and I wanted to shed more light on what America really should be about.
All over this world.
In Stillwater, Mariel Mose, WCCO 4 News.
Stillwater police are investigating the situation, and Stillwater's mayor has reached out to Governor Tim Walz's office about the incident. The mayor says patrols will increase in town through summer. A Minneapolis man shot and killed by police is being remembered 5 years after his death. Jamar Clark was shot and killed on November 15th, 2015 by Minneapolis PD. Clark was unarmed, but officers say he was reaching for their gun during a struggle. Today, people gathered at Franklin Middle School to remember Clark, who was just 24 at the time of his death. Organizers say they wanted to honor the 5 years of struggle in the fight for justice for Jamar and others killed by police.
And we thought for some reason that Jamar Clark was an anomaly, but he was not. He was a trend that we failed to realize in this state and in this city and this country. And if we would have done something about Jamar Clark's death, we would have saved Lando Castillo, we would have saved George Floyd, but we failed to do that.
The Hennepin County attorney chose not to charge the officers who shot Clark, saying the shooting was justified. The case sparked massive protests across Minneapolis.
There are 2 demonstrations planned for today regarding the upcoming trial for Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged in George Floyd's death. At 2 o'clock today, there will be an I Can't Breathe silent march for justice at the Hennepin County Government Center. Then at 3 o'clock, a coalition of pastors will come together for a clergy prayer gathering. Families who have experienced this yesterday outside Governor Tim Walz in St. Paul. With jury selection in the Derek Chauvin trial starting tomorrow, David Schumann tells us how community leaders are keeping the pressure on for change.
Accountability, justice, transparency. The protesters here Saturday feel there hasn't been enough of any of it since George Floyd's death. Not enough progress, they say.
We just want a fair shot. We want a fair shot without having our hands tied behind our backs, a boot on our neck, or a gun to our children's head or our own head. That's all we want.
Some of the demonstrators had a message, too, for people who dismiss their concerns of systemic racism.
You have to have compassion. You have to feel what these people are feeling. And if you can't, don't call yourself a good person. You need to realize that people are hurting. People have a right to feel the way that they feel.
For Brandon Tulloch, that right also goes for reacting to a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial. One of the speakers said, quote, "It won't be business as usual if there's an acquittal." Another advocated for laws to hold police accountable, such as ending qualified immunity.
The eyes of the world are going to be on Minnesota with this upcoming trial, but our eyes cannot leave the legislature.
For these
Are good for the life and the safety of color in the country.
In St. Paul, David WCCO Force.
We reached Governor Walz for comment on the protest, but did not hear back from him.
The Minnesota chapter of the Council on Islamic Relations is calling for a target employee to be fired. Minnesota says that the employee on this that was ordered by a Muslim customer. The woman says she told the employee ISIS was dead. The woman says the employee claimed that she could not hear her name, told the woman that makes happen. CAIR-MN outside the Midway Target location at 11:30 this morning.
Now time for some other big stories we're tracking in your morning rush. It was just a joke. That's what a Moorhead man is telling police after being arrested for vandalizing a mosque. Police believe 22-year-old Benjamin Enderle spray painted hate messages on the building. He's now facing several charges. The Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations wants authorities to investigate the incident as a hate crime.
The Minnesota Council on American Islamic Relations is calling for community support after a St. Paul mosque was vandalized several times. According to CAIR, the incident started in June at the Dar Uloom Islamic Center. The first caused more than $20,000 in damage at the mosque's school building. Then in August, the front door was broken down twice and private cars there vandalized.
There is no concern from the neighborhood. The neighborhood has been a very supportive neighborhood to the mosque since its inception. But we are concerned because mosques in Minnesota have continuously been broken into, vandalized. And this is the second incident in the past almost year in St. Paul.
Jailani Hussein says police are searching for those responsible, but so far there are no suspects and no arrests.
Officials.
There are less than 2 weeks left before the deadline for the 2020 census, and some communities of color, immigrant communities, and rural communities are seeing a response rate lower than 50%.
The Civic Engagement Coordinator for the Council on American Islamic Relations tells us misinformation is making it difficult for census workers to get their jobs done.
So most of the people I'm talking to are immigrant, recent come people. They have never heard of census. And they hear the census, they're thinking that information are going to be taken away and that someone else is going to use it.
CAIR wants to remind people that Title 13 cannot be with ICE, landlords, or enforcement. If any information will face prison time and a fine of $50,000.
Impacts more than $675 billion in federal funding that'll be split across the country, which supports services like housing, food assistance, and public safety.
Even though a private security company had agreed not to send armed ex-military to Minnesota for election security, a federal judge made that a binding order today.
In the order, a Tennessee security company, its owner, and the 10 Minnesota companies who had hired them are all ordered not to send any armed agents within 2,500 feet of polling sites in the state. This order comes amid reports that the Minneapolis Police Federation had been asked by the Trump campaign to recruit retired officers to also work as election site monitors. The Council on American Islamic Relations, who had sought the court order, hopes it sends a clear message to anyone who might try to deploy armed security.
I think it's a relief, and I think it really sends a strong signal to this group and anyone else who thinks about doing voter suppression and intimidation like this. And I think it also sets a clear precedent that this cannot happen.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey issuing a statement on these attempts saying, safe and complete access at the polls is not negotiable, and we will ensure its total protection for every resident, period.
Go ahead.
The Council on American Islamic Relations and the CAIR National Legal Defense Fund are suing the Chisago Lake School District. The federal lawsuit is on behalf of the estate of Jacob Letourneau El-Shakawi. The 15-year-old Muslim student died by suicide. CAIR-Minnesota says his death followed years of Islamophobic bullying and sometimes violence that began when his mother started to wear her hijab.
Somebody would call the terrorist and I'd let the school know, then they would ignore it or call it a teachable moment. Mm-hmm. Yet they wouldn't teach them anything about it.
Concussions, contusions, broken collarbone, being slammed to frames of the metal doors on the bus windows, and the constant psychological, verbal assaults that he endured did not warrant a response that we've hoped for our parents or any community member, from the administrators, the teachers.
The Chisago Lake School District said it denies the statements made and released this press release related to the bullying. It says the Minnesota Department of Education carefully examined the district's actions in April of 2019, determined that the district complied with all applicable laws and policies related to bullying.
News. Now, advocates are calling for justice for George Floyd beyond the courtroom. The Council on American Islamic Relations, along with other groups, are calling on state lawmakers to reform policing in Minnesota. They want bills to be passed that they claim will increase police accountability.
So that's why I warn people who are watching the trial that there will be a great injustice if we allow officers to continue to kill people and we fail to do something about it.
Advocates say that they will continue to carry out protest lawmakers pass the reforms.
Well, several organizations, including the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, are calling for murder charges to be added against former police officer Kim Potter. They held a rally earlier today outside the Brooklyn Center Police Department. The groups also called for an end to Operation Safety Net, which they claim is violent toward people of color.
In Bloomington, police are looking for two young men who left a local Muslim leader in the Twin Cities injured after beating him. Here's a photo of the two suspects. They appear to be in their late teens or early 20s. One black, one white. The incident happened just before 10 p.m. near the Dar al-Fouq Mosque. At the scene, a 50-year-old man was found with a fractured shoulder. He was later identified as Sheikh Mohammed Mukhtar, a local leader at the mosque. The mosque's executive director says having to live in fear of an attack is a public health crisis for Muslims.
The physical wound can heal, but the emotional wound and the loss of sense of safety and security is a permanent, scar.
The Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations called on authorities to investigate the incident as a potentially biased, motivated crime. The incident comes after almost 3 years to the day of the mosque being bombed.
A St. Paul Islamic Center is asking for help after it has been repeatedly vandalized over the last several weeks. The Council on American Islamic Relations has stepped to condemn what has happened and ask the community for help, and also to lead a broader discussion on hate. Here's Sharon.
At a place of community, at a place of worship, this is an unwelcome sight.
I don't know how they in, because I am the only person who have the key. Somehow they open for the inside and they vandalizing whole building.
It happened in June, again on August 24th, then again the day after. Darul Uloom director Osman Igal says he's calling it what it is, a hate crime.
They assaulted more than at least 5 times or 6 times last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They broken at least 4 times our cars for the windows. So the hate crime, that is the reason I'm using for the hate crime.
Are you worried about your safety and the safety of the folks who come to the Islamic Center?
Yes, I'm worried. If something happened one time, you may say everything happened one time, but the one happened yesterday or before yesterday is what you worry. I'm the leader for the community. So people, when they come here, I have to worry. That's my responsibility.
This is why the Council on American Islamic Relations of Minnesota stepped in.
This is the epicenter. This is where we come when we meet our friends. This is where we come to congregate for prayer. And this is kind of like, this is our community center.
Muhammad Ibrahim, the deputy director of CAIR-Minnesota, says attacks like this on places of worship have been happening for a long time.
We've been seeing incidents like this happen since 2016. We have seen, a mosque that was bombed. Recently, we had another imam that was actually physically assaulted as well in Bloomington. And these are designed to, cause us to waver or cause us to be intimidated.
Tensions are high for literally everybody right now. How is CAIR preparing for the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to empower folks, right? To empower folks with information to get to the polls, right? To empower folks to understand that not only that they have this right that they get to enjoy that a lot of people might not have, to use their voice to go ahead and shape their future by voting today.
Even after all of this, the prevailing message that is coming out of the Islamic Center is peace. Yes, they have asked their neighbors to be vigilant, but they say that they are moving forward with courage and compassion. In the meantime, they have set up a GoFundMe page to help with the damages. Jana?
And that GoFundMe, there's a reason for that. As Sharon mentioned, the Council on American Islamic Relations say the damages to that building from the vandalism will cost more than $20,000 to repair.
In 2017, President Trump signed an executive order that banned entry to the United States from predominantly Muslim nations, including Somalia, Iran, and Libya. In his first few hours in office, President Joe Biden reversed that ban. And the Council on American Islamic Relations Director Jailani Hussein says for the past 4 years, the ban has negatively impacted immigrant communities who call Minnesota home. From relationships that could not sustain the long distance to a father who hasn't seen his own son for years, Hussein says he hears hundreds of heart-wrenching stories. And while President Biden's actions are a step in the right direction, there is more work that needs to be done.
Happy to see this reversal. We are also excited about the opportunity of passing the No Ban Act, which is a bill that passed in the House. And if it can pass in the Senate and get signed, this bill will actually make sure that no president in the future can do the no Muslim ban.
Hussein says in the coming weeks, there will be virtual information sessions for families with questions about the new rules. We have a link to that information on our website, kttc.com.
After days of debate, Minnesota lawmakers have passed a police reform bill.
This will ban chokeholds unless they are needed to protect an officer from great bodily harm. It also prohibits warrior-style training, which lawmakers say encourages aggressive action in a way that devalues human life. The bill proposes police have a duty to intervene when they see officers using excessive force. Uba Ali spoke with local leaders to find out if the proposed bill bring change.
You can't celebrate, but now we won't choke you. They can still shoot you.
Frustration for some lawmakers after the legislature passes a police reform bill they feel is not addressing the real problem.
I think it looks good. People need to know that this is not even a small win.
Council on American Islamic Relations exists. While some policies are being addressed, it's far from real change.
It's not sweeping legislation. To me, it's a sweeping it under the rug rather than addressing police accountability.
A bill they wanted to see make it through includes a requirement to release body camera footage to families of people killed by police within 48 hours. Hussein is not the only one who feels that way. Here in Rochester, Police Policy Oversight Commission member Joseph Phillips says real change comes when the real problems are addressed.
Real change comes when you admit first that some wrong was done and you're willing to step back and listen and put forth the work that needs to be done to make real change. So no, I don't think real change is going to happen.
A statement from the Rochester Police Department says in part that the agency is already in compliance to the bill, adding that Chief Jim Franklin changed RPD's policy on chokeholds to use only in deadly force situations. As the bill heads to the governor's desk, it's met with opposition outside the governor's mansion.
We are far away from the type of policies that can hold law enforcement accountable, particularly when they kill people, just like they killed George Floyd.
Governor Tim Walz addressing that concern from community members at a news briefing.
What I would respond to people is that no piece of legislation is perfect, and I wouldn't view any as the end.
In Rochester, Uba Ali, KTTC News.
Twin Cities leaders and citizens once again calling for the termination of Minneapolis Police Union President Bob Kroll. The Minnesota chapter of the Council of American Islamic Relations held a joint press conference with the Coalition of Police Accountability and Civil Rights Groups today to demand the firing of Kroll.
Bob Kroll has a history of being part of 50 complaints, and we know that majority of people who are victims of some form of police brutality actually do not report and do not file complaints. So 50 is just to show that Bob Kroll has committed even much more that we don't know.
The groups are expected to deliver over 250,000 petition signatures, calling on Mayor Jacob Fry, the Minneapolis City Council, and Police Chief Madaria Arredondo to fire Kroll from the police department and the federation he leads.
Well, before that violence tonight, a call for peace, justice, and unity in the death of George Floyd. One of many planned marches and protests in the days and weeks ahead as the Chauvin trial is slated to start Monday. Here's Steve on Rami.
With jury selection set for Monday in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, not only are city leaders and law enforcement preparing, but so are spiritual leaders and local civil rights activists across the metro.
This trial is not just about George Floyd. It's about all these names in the state of Minnesota and the countless of names across this country.
At the epicenter of George Floyd's death, 38th in Chicago, a call for unity and prayer Saturday rang through the intersection from the team at Worldwide Outreach for Christ Ministries, joined by dozens of community members who say they're leaning on their faith ahead of the trial.
Getting rid of the racism and all the other isms in our neighborhood, it is going to take the power of God if it's going to be permanent.
Similar prayer gatherings and dozens of protest rallies are set to play out over the next few weeks as the eyes of the world turn to Minneapolis once again, waiting to see if those linked to Floyd's death will be held accountable.
We must hold these officers accountable. We have no systems in place that do that in this state or in this city.
It's time to stand up. It's time to stand up, and I demand that we all fight for justice by any means necessary.
Hands up!
Cries for justice amid prayers and a call for unity from these city streets, the same streets where George Floyd died, resulting in his name igniting a global call for change.
His death is not going to be in vain. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Devon Rumming, CAIR 11 News.
Jury selection in the Chauvin trial begins Monday morning. We should also find out if an additional third-degree murder charge will be added to that case.
I'm going to bring in Ryan Rage with more on that newly released body cam video.
And what we've shown you, by the way, is the entire video released to us by police. We did not edit it. And Ryan, significant that police
and the city just released this body camera footage of the shooting. It's less than 30 seconds. What you see surrounding the suspect's car, it's the white car in the gas station parking lot. You can hear officers shout commands before several open fire.
Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Police! Hands up!
That is it. That's the entire clip that the city released. Of course, the question everyone has been asking is who shot first. Police also released a slowed down version of the same video so you can try to see that moment a little clearer. This is right before officers start shooting. If you watch closely at the driver's side window, you can see what appears to be glass shattering outward, and then the officer reacts. He shouts profanity, and within a second, literally 1 second, several officers fire towards the suspect. Again, it all happens very fast, but police believe the suspect did in fact shoot first, followed by officers returning fire. MPD released just this video, but there are more that the BCA will have access to, guys.
Ryan Race, thank you very much. And tonight we are back in South Minneapolis at the scene of the shooting last night at the Holiday gas station at 36th and Cedar. The family of the man who was killed is getting ready to hold a vigil in his memory.
Right, our Callan Gray is at the site right now. Callan, we know this will be starting relatively soon. What are you hearing? What are you seeing there?
This vigil was expected to start at 5 o'clock here at the corner of East 36th and Cedar. However, we have seen just a few people start to arrive. This intersection, there's a lot of traffic going, but again, not many people here at this point. I do want to give you a look, however, the windows are being boarded up on this holiday station in preparation for the crowd that is expected to gather here on Facebook. About 42 people have said they will be attending, a couple hundred more saying they are interested in attending. Now, this vigil is being hosted by the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations. We know that other activists have been sharing this event as well on Facebook. But again, at this point, there are just a few people who have started arriving. The vigil has not started yet. Again, it was expected to start at 5 o'clock. And as Kevin mentioned, we do anticipate the family of the man who was killed to be here. We will bring you the very latest as soon as this vigil begins. Reporting live in Minneapolis, Callan Gray, 5 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Ken.
Even the bigger protests we know is planned for today isn't set to start until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So that's a group of more than 20 Twin Cities organizations, including Black Lives Matter Minnesota, Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar, the Council on American Islamic Relations. So of course we're expecting more people later on this afternoon when that takes place. That group has protested on really all the key days of this trial. So they were out on opening statements. They'll be here today, and they plan to protest again when the verdict is read. When will that be? Of course, no one knows.
2 decades behind bars, Mayan Burrell is a free man this morning.
Burrell was sentenced to life in prison when he was just a teenager for the murder of a Minneapolis girl, but he was released last night. Our Don Stevens joins us now with a closer look. And Don, we know this was all precipitated by Amy Klobuchar running for president.
Good morning, that's right. So it made national headlines at that time earlier this year, leading to questions about his conviction. And yesterday, the Minnesota Board of Pardons voted to release him. Friends and family cheered as Burrell walked out of the Stillwater prison last night. Burrell was 16 when he was convicted for the 2002 murder of 11-year-old Taisha Edwards, who was hit by a stray bullet in her home. The case received new attention this year when the prosecutor, former Hennepin County Attorney Amy Klobuchar, ran for president. Several investigations exposed possible flaws in the original police investigation and prosecution. An independent panel recommended Burrell's release, and the State Board of Pardons agreed. Burrell spoke to his supporters as he got into his car.
I can't even explain my gratitude to all my supporters. I love y'all, man. Y'all take care. Y'all keep on pushing, man. We fighting for this justice. Too much injustice.
Many of Burrell's supporters say this is a moment they fought for almost 2 decades. They hope this moment of justice turn a movement.
We're in a moment of a revolution, and we are not stopping with Mayan, beginning with Mayan.
Governor Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison voted to commute Burrell's sentence to 20 years. He's already served 18, and the remaining 2 will be under supervised release. Colin Kelly.
Now, as the legislative session got underway, there were calls outside of the Capitol for more police accountability.
We can be a more just society, and that is what we are demanding this moment. And we believe in the people of Minnesota. We don't believe in these legislators because they have failed and they are part of the problem. But we believe in the people of Minnesota.
This event was organized in part by the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations. They're asking lawmakers to do more for families of victims of police violence. That would include things like providing full access to body camera video, the opportunity to bring cases against officers, and an end to no-knock warrants. State reforms passed last year include a ban on chokeholds, as well as incentives for officers to live in the communities they serve.
The Minneapolis City Council unanimously approved a budget this week, which will shift about $8 million from the police department toward violence prevention and other programs, but will keep the mayor's targeted staffing levels for sworn officers intact. Kay Raditz has more.
The Minneapolis budget reallocates millions of dollars from MPD toward violence prevention and other programs. Mayor Jacob Frey threatened to veto the deal if the current number of 888 officers on the force was reduced. Ultimately, the council voted 7-6 to approve his request.
We are turning a page right now. We are rallying around a common cause, and that is a both-end approach. And
says he thinks they need services, but time focusing within Minneapolis and people of color.
But we can't put one before the other.
Council on American Islamic Relations Minnesota Hussein said he wants clearer policies that will prevent engagement for decisions on public safety.
Same curriculum that is being right now is going to produce the same results that we're going to have regardless of we start a new administration or not. But the thing about the beginning and also the end.
Mayor Fry stresses the work not over.
We're going back to St. Paul to make sure that we get true arbitration reform, to make sure that we can fire officers and bring in good ones. Right now, we're doing that important safety.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us for our Ramadan fundraiser. I'm so grateful to all of you. I am the community advocacy manager for CAIR-Minnesota, and I will be your MC for the night. Just to get things started, I'm going to introduce our executive director, Burrell.
Jazakallah khairan, Sister Zainab, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to all of you who are joining us this afternoon. It is the annual CAIR-Minnesota Ramadan fundraiser. We usually are together in the University of Minnesota or one other venue together and breaking fast together, but now due to COVID we're all doing virtual. So again, Jazakumullah khairan for joining us. We'll get the program started with Quran recitation. I wanted to bring one of our most well-known internationally and also here locally, Brother Ahmed Burhan. Brother Ahmed Burhan is someone that most of you know. He is a qari who has won many competitions, both locally here in the U.S. as well as internationally, and is a leader, especially in the Muslim youth here in Minnesota, and among many things. So Jazakallah khairan, Brother Ahmed, for joining us. We'll start the program with recitation from the Quran.
وإياكم جزاكم الله خير for those kind words. May Allah make me from what you guys think of me. Allah yubarak fikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. كونوا قوامين القسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما. إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما. فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما. فلا
تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا صدق الله العظيم. جزاك الله.
Jazakallahu khairan, Brother Ahmed. Jazakallah khairan. Very beautiful recitation. It's always good to see you. And this is the month of the Quran, so it's a blessing to have you with us and to always listen to you. By the way, your recitation is just getting better, bro. It's it's getting better. I don't consider myself a great judge, but for someone who's been listening to some of the best Egyptian reciters, mashallah, you're picking up on some of that Egyptian reciters. Earlier on, I would say you were like Abdel Nasser. You know, Sheikh Abdel Nasser has a very smooth, beautiful recitation, which I love, by the way. My favorite reciter, by the way, is Sheikh Abdullah Basr. And I love him because of the way he enunciates the letters. Like he gives their true haqq, you know? So, Jazakallah khairan for everything you do.
He's actually a big support for our community, and he's one of the biggest supporters of Masjid Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, who does a lot of work with us. I even met him in Kuwait before, and he's really humble person, mashallah. He even came with to some of our virtual events. Jazakallah khairan.
Please send my salam. There's a person in Minnesota who appreciates him. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan, Ahmed. Thank you again for joining us. For the rest of you, for the rest of you, Jazakallah khairan for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have all of you be with us. I'm live at the CAIR office today, and this is our Ramadan fundraiser. And I would say that, you know, Ramadan is a beautiful month, but it's also a month where we get our strongest supporters and committed donors to support us. And I know, alhamdulillah, with the virtual part, we're not all together. So I really appreciate you for those who are watching us right now. And I encourage you to share and repost with others as well. We will get the program rolling today. You know, CAIR-Minnesota is doing so many amazing work. It is hard to sum it up even in this moment right now. And but the work that we do every single day is to advance justice and build a more just society, including, most importantly, also building a greater understanding of our communities. And that's something we are passionate about, and the work that we do reflects that. And so we've had multiple major wins this past year. Just last week, learning about the fact that Minnesota kept its all congressional seats because of 89 people. Our team was out and about this past year working extremely hard around the census, and we targeted areas that we knew oftentimes is most neglected, which is rural Minnesota, and among other places. And so throughout the night, inshallah, I'll be coming back and asking you for your support and your donations. And you could go right now to CAIR-MN.com/Ramadan. This is a way you can support. We're encouraging every single one of you to make that commitment. This Ramadan is a Ramadan I think we all need to be committed toward justice. And especially here in Minnesota, we saw community become a center for police accountability and police brutality. And we were noticeable around the entire world as a state that was wrestling with an issue that is happening all over the state. And alhamdulillah, CAIR, we have been part of an amazing coalition that we'll talk a little bit more about later, that has been on the front lines of making changes and demanding a more just society and police accountability. So All of this work could not be done without the support from individuals like you. So if you are with us right now and you're not going to stick around for the rest of the program, we encourage you to do, but make that donation right now and support CAIR-Minnesota with whatever you can. You know, I always challenge people to support this organization because among the very few organizations who do this work that have a tremendous amount of support from community members. So we'll bring some of our staff to give you some updates today about the work that we have been doing. So as we get going on that piece of the work, I'll be coming back asking you again for your support, inshallah. And it's great to see all of you watching, as I'm seeing folks are engaging online. So go ahead and engage online if you have questions, if thoughts, and just the impact that CAIR has had on you this past year.
Jazakallah, Jaylani. And thank you so much. Like Jaylani mentioned, I think it's important for all of you to meet the people and the staff that are behind the work that we do, who do it so justly and swiftly. And so I'd like to introduce some of our staff members. First, you guys will get to know Alex Shah, who's our civil rights attorney.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Alex Shah, civil rights attorney here for CAIR-Minnesota. Been with CAIR close to 2 years now. But I'm one of our two staff attorneys, so I'm providing direct legal services to our clients. And I'm coming to you live from a cabin in the woods in northern Minnesota. So I apologize if my internet connection isn't perfect, but I'm really glad I was able to be here with everyone tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alec. And then next we'll introduce Patty Walsh, who's our development director.
Hi, everybody. Salam alaikum. I'm Patty Walsh. I'm the development director here at CAIR-Minnesota. I just celebrated my 5th anniversary with CAIR-Minnesota, and I'm very proud to be working with CAIR and the whole staff. Miss being together with everybody, and I miss being celebrating with everyone, all of our wonderful supporters at our annual Ramadan feast, and I hope that we get to do it again all together really soon. I just wanted to give you all we're supposed to give each one of you a fun fact about ourselves. And one of the things that maybe people don't know about me is that I'm a late night radio programmer. So that's my fun fact.
That's really awesome. I didn't even know that, Patty. So every day I'm finding something new about you. So thank you so much for sharing.
I'm full of mystery.
Yes, definitely. Every day I feel like I learn something new about you. And then we'll introduce Kate King, who's our fund development manager.
Hello, everyone. I am Kate King. I am newer to the team. I started in October. I work exclusively with our individual donors, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about your giving needs or tax documents. And a fun fact about me before coming to the world of nonprofits, I was a certified veterinary nurse. So you never know where life will lead you.
Thank you so much, Kate. And next we'll introduce Bilqis Hassan, who is our chapter coordinator. Bilqis might be having some technical issues, so we'll just come back. And we'll introduce Tracy Bagels, who is our fund development associate. Hi, Tracy.
All right. Hi. I'm the fund development coordinator. I'm the one to call everyone, which I really enjoy, by the way. Let's see, fun fact. I'm kind of, but I guess my fun fact is I volunteer once a month at our local mosque here for the food pantry. I hope y'all have a very blessed Ramadan.
Thank you so much, Tracy. And we'll reintroduce Bilqis Hassan, who's our chapter coordinator. Let me know if you're able to connect, Bilqis. Okay, cool. We'll keep trying. We're in the world of technical difficulties. I will introduce Melissa Bosk, who's our training coordinator. Melissa, can you hear us? We will come back for that. And I'd like to introduce Mohammed Ibrahim, who is our deputy director.
Alaikum. Hope you can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I am the deputy director with CAIR-Minnesota. And thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. And a fun fact about myself is that I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. So I'll toss that in. Thank you so much for joining us all today.
That is awesome. I didn't know about that about you. So I feel like I'm always getting to know people here. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm not sure if Jenny might be able to join us tonight. Okay, awesome. Jenny is having a little bit of technical difficulties. So we will kind of get started with our program for the night. I'd like to introduce, so our staff will come back. They'll kind of tell you a little bit about some of the biggest works they've done this year. And I would first like to reintroduce Don, who is our civil rights director. He's not able to join us this evening, but he did send us a video highlighting some of the biggest cases he's done tonight. Our board is actually joining us. So we'll first get started with you guys getting to know our board. And our board chair will be introducing all of our board. Mizer Mohammed is joining us, and you guys will get to know him. Mizer, are you here? Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Mizer.
Yes, I am. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much on behalf of the CAIR organization and the board. I'm just really happy that you guys are all here participating with us. It really means a lot that you guys support an organization like ours. We hear you, we see you, come out to all of our events, and we couldn't be more happy to do the work. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, Jazakallah khairan, thank you so much. So my name is Mazer Mohammed. I'm currently the board chair of CAIR-Minnesota. I've been on the board for about 3 years now, and I just started my tenure as board chair the beginning of this year, following in the footsteps of the great Abdul Basit job and service for this organization. And inshallah, you know, I can do whatever I can in order to fill the shoes that he left behind. And I would love the community's support and engagement throughout, you know, the times moving forward to help build this organization into a bigger, stronger, better organization than we already are. So currently on the board, we have 5 members, including myself. So the vice chair is Brother Faisal Hamid. He's been on the board for about 2 years now. We have Sister Saadia. She has been on the board about the same time as me, 3 years. Fantastic board member as well. We have Brother Amin, Brother Amin Aziz, who has been on the board for longer than the rest of us, about 4 years now. And we have our newest board member, Brother Adil Ahmed, who joined on about 6-7 months ago. Fantastic board, fantastic group. And I know they're all really, really excited to have you all here joining us in our fundraiser. And inshallah, when this COVID situation clears up, we'll have more events so we can engage and connect with our constituents, the people that we represent, the people that we serve. So Jazakallah khairan from the bottom of my heart. Hope to hear from you all soon, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the program. Assalamu alaikum.
Awesome. Jazakallah khair, Mizer. I would next like to introduce our Civil Rights Department, who will be telling you guys about some of the biggest cases that they've done this work. Don and Alec. Alec is joining us virtually, so I'll let him take it away.
I believe Don, our civil rights director, put together a brief video kind of highlighting some of the work we've been doing here in the civil rights department this past year. Kate has that queued up.
Assalamu alaikum. First and foremost, Ramadan Mubarak. I'd also like to take a minute to thank all of the donors who make our work possible. We wouldn't be able to defend the constitutional and civil rights of Muslims in Minnesota without your support. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, there is still a high demand for our core services, such as assisting or representing community members who have been victims of discrimination, harassment, or denial of service. During calendar year 2020, the Civil Rights Department processed nearly 500 requests for assistance and more than 250 case intakes. After a year of innovation and identifying new ways to provide core programming to our community due to the pandemic, I'm optimistic that we can begin transitioning the delivery of portions of our core programming, like free legal clinics, from digital back to in-person in the near future. Speaking of the pandemic, last Ramadan we had just begun implementing rapid response services designed to address new needs of the community arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, such as creating resource guides and expanding our free legal services to include advice related to evictions, stimulus packages, and unemployment benefits. I'm happy to report that a year later, more than 16,000 have been helped by our COVID-19 rapid response resources. While the vast majority of cases the Civil Rights Department takes each year do not make the nightly news, such as working with community members to request and receive prayer accommodations from their employers, there are some notable cases I'd like to highlight from the past year in a wide variety ranging from employment to public accommodation, from school bullying to protecting voting rights. In the spring of 2020, our office received multiple reports of alleged safety violations at a meat processing facility in Greater Minnesota, a facility that employed a large number of Muslim employees. In an effort to protect the rights and the health of those community members, CAIR-Minnesota filed complaints with OSHA and publicly demanded an investigation. I'm proud to report that as of February 2021, Minnesota OSHA had fined the facility thousands of dollars for serious safety violations and taken steps to ensure the safety of the employees at the facility. In the summer of 2020, our office responded to reports of an Islamophobic incident at a Target in St. Paul, in which a barista at a coffee shop inside the Target location wrote ISIS on a Muslim customer's cup rather than the customer's name. CAIR-Minnesota attorneys have worked with the victim to initiate legal action against Target, and efforts to seek justice are ongoing. In September 2020, CAIR-Minnesota filed a lawsuit against a school district related to the death of a Muslim student following severe school bullying related to his religion. This case is ongoing. In October 2020, CAIR-Minnesota and the Minnesota League of Women Voters sued a company and its chairman for illegal voter intimidation related to a plan to hire and deploy armed ex-soldiers to polling sites in the state. On October 29, 2020, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction banning the company and its chairman deploying armed agents near polling places during the November 2020 election. In February 2021, a federal judge approved a sweeping settlement agreement ensuring that our right to vote without intimidation is protected. The consent decree approved by the federal court requires the plaintiffs to state as follows: this matter has been resolved by agreement. The parties have agreed that defendants shall be restricted in their actions set forth in the attached consent decree. Defendants have not admitted any liability and specifically deny they have committed any statutory violation. Your continued support is important work possible. Ramadan Mubarak, and again, thank you for your support.
Thank you so much. And Alec, can you tell us a little bit about how this past year went? We know that there was a spike in cases, especially with the pandemic. How's that been for your department?
Yeah, it was definitely a very busy year for for us in the Civil Rights Department and elsewhere in the organization. Yeah, we saw a big spike in employment discrimination related cases, having to do with a lot of people getting furloughed and losing their jobs due to the pandemic. A big spike in housing cases with the eviction moratorium that was there for COVID, and obviously just the general climate in the Twin Cities in Minnesota generally around police reform has really raised awareness among the community. So we've seen a lot of people reaching out to us about incidents they may have had with police, possibly recently, possibly further in the past, that they're just now becoming aware that they might be able to assert their rights there. So definitely a very, very busy year, but we've adapted to the pandemic and to everything else, and we're still out there every day helping our community.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all you do and for sharing today. I know I've joined in January, and since then the cases have been high, so thank you for all you do. And we will introduce next our Fund Development Department to tell us a little bit about kind of the work they've been up to this year and some of the new ones as well. Kate and Patty. Actually, I think we have a surprise, so we'll reintroduce our Executive Director, Jaylani.
All right. Thank you, Zainab. So it's that time. I am going to be doing the fundraising today, so I'm hoping that all of you will join us in this fundraiser. First of all, again, thank you, Alec and Don and the rest of the staff that introduced themselves and the board. As we want to make this fun, engaging fundraising event. So the first thing is that we have these amazing surprise gifts that we will be giving away tonight for almost every 15 minutes or so or less. We're going to be giving away, and we're going to be monitoring our online donation form. That's the easiest way. We have some donations that came in that we would like to start announcing those. So these are mystery gifts. We're not going to tell you what's inside them, but it's going to be a little thank you gift for some of our donors. And we also have some giveaways that we'd like to give folks to. For those who are interested, if you're interested in any of the giveaways, when you submit your online donation form, you can go there and just put in the notes, the memo, whatever gift that you would like. Hopefully, we have enough supplies available. So let's look at some of those donations, so some of those gift ideas. First, we have the prayer mats. I know with COVID, it's been challenging to have your prayer mat, especially if you're going to Taraweeh, to have to fill up again. So these prayer mats are really cool. They come in these bags, and they have weights on them, the kind of weights that are not gonna slip out. I know some of these prayer mats, sometimes the weights really nice. So we can send some of this to you, 2 per family. And if you want more, just let us know, as long as we have supplies available. And we brought back our favorite giveaway, also the pop sockets. Remember those, guys? Yeah, they were so popular last Ramadan, but also the Ramadan before, when Minnesota became hands-free. And it has both on the back of your phone and then the piece that goes on the car. So hands-free is the law in the state of Minnesota. And then we do have some of these smaller. These are called the webcam, privacy, and you put them right on your webcam, and then they technically block, they block, give you some privacy. Especially now we're all Zooming and we're virtually online almost for everything. So, and for the pop sockets, we have both the white on the blue, and then we have the black and white. So that's what we have, and then obviously we're randomly giving away the mystery bags with some goodies and some amazing things inside here. So we only have about 10 of those, so we're only going to do 10 today. I hope you can participate. All you have to do is donate at any amount, and we will pick randomly and send that amazing prize to you. So As you're all watching, CAIR we've been on the front lines. You've seen the work that we have been doing, and it's really because of the donors we have. And this month of Ramadan, it's a month of giving, and I know many of our Muslim organizations are asking for your support, especially if you're participating in this month of Ramadan. So I encourage all of you to do your part. Some of our longtime donors who have been supporting us, I just want to deeply appreciate and thank you for the amazing support that you have given us. So I'd like to bring in, I think we have some donations coming in. So I'd love to bring in Kate or someone to give us a quick update on where we are right now. It looks like we have some donations that have come in already. Let's see. All right, Kate, do you want to give us a little bit of an update?
Sure. We have received. Oh, am I?
Oh, nope, I can hear.
Okay, great. We have received a $1,000 anonymous donation.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Patty has some news too.
All right, Patty.
Yes, I do. We have an anonymous donation of $5,000. And I'm going to shout out the first takbir.
All right, takbir. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Thank you for that takbir, Patty. And keep them coming in. Keep them coming in. Yeah, I know some of our donors want to be private, but if you want us to give you a shout out, just put it in the note there. No problem with the shout out. I know we've got some donors from Minneapolis, some donors from other part of the suburbs as well. So we're on a good start. And for the surprise gift, we are going to, inshallah, make sure we can get some of that out. So these will be going out to somebody. Like I said, I can't really tell you what's inside. That's the whole idea. It's a mystery bag. We're gonna do that. And so one thing I want to recommend, folks, is that we really love to see consistent small donations. I know a lot of us right now with COVID might be a little struggling. So if you can commit to maybe $50 a month or $40 a month or $30 a month, that goes a long way for us. And so and we can pitch in. All of us can pitch in. So again, thank you so much, Patty and Kate, for that. I would love to see more good news from both of you. Once you appear on the screen, it must mean that we got another breaking news.
That's right.
Donor has that. So with that said, I just want to come back and just talk about this fundraiser. So at CAIR-Minnesota, civil rights is one of those things that's been at the peak of almost everything that we've been doing for the last few months. The state of Minnesota became ground zero for civil rights, and particularly after the killing of George Floyd. And as many of you know, CAIR-Minnesota has been there on the front lines, working with a coalition, advocating as much as possible, and trying to really change the system. That's how CAIR reviews the world. We know that there's systems of oppression, and every case is a possibility and opportunity to change that system. So join us right now. Go to donate. You can go right now to CAIR-MN.com. The link right there. That's all it takes. And we have these amazing gifts that we'd like to give some of you who are interested in some of these giveaways. We've got the pop sockets, obviously. For those who are doing Taraweeh right now, this is a little easier to clean than your traditional prayer mats. In fact, today I was at Jum'ah and I saw someone already having one of these in hand, and they really liked it. It's very easy. And even outside of the COVID, hopefully you could use these prayer mats. And then obviously we do have the webcam covers, and we have 2 colors of those as well that I'd like to give away. So here's the webcam cover, as you can see, either the black one or the white ones. And they really work perfectly, especially now since we're all online on your tablet or your laptop. So this month of Ramadan is I see, especially the Muslim community, people come out and donate immensely. It's a month of giving. It's a month of really really connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but most importantly, it's a month that the Prophet ﷺ used to give as much as he could. He was very generous in this beautiful month of Ramadan. And you know, I ask ourselves, like, you know, the Sahaba, if they were here right now, if the Prophet ﷺ was with us right now, what would he be advising us? What would be that? And right now we are living in a time when, you know, the hardest questions people are asking around justice, about racial discrimination, and about all the challenges. And I want to just take this moment, and especially for our Muslim community, I know many of us don't realize the trauma that we have been dealing with when it comes to police brutality. Because for Muslim community members in the United States, we see the brunt end of police brutality from every corner. From every corner. We see brutality coming from when we come back to the United States, our U.S. passports. We see the fact that, you know, for example, at the border protection, I just got back after leaving for a little bit, and you know, it was at the Chicago O'Hare Airport, and I was pulled over, put into secondary screening, something that many of us have experienced. And these are law enforcement officials, these border protection officers. And just because of my name, just because of being Muslim, I'm being put into secondary screening. And this is absolutely police brutality to its content, and a police profiling. And this happens a lot to Muslims, but we have internalized it. You know, we just go by it and hopefully just get away and not be pulled over again, or not to be put into secondary screening. And I remember at that at the Chicago O'Hare Airport that I saw other people in that secondary screening room. And I remember seeing this older woman, probably in her mid-60s or early 70s, being asked silly questions, you know, being asked if she was, how many events that she attended when she was abroad, you know, how many festivals did she attend? And then when I told them I'm not answering their questions, they did not like that. They started to threaten me and saying that they're going to have to check my bags. And obviously they have a right to check the bags, so they check the bags, and there was nothing in there. But and then one of the officers had the audacity to ask me, "Is this how you treat your American fellow American?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is how you treat a fellow Americans." Right? And so when we talk about police brutality, you know, the Muslim community faces that brutality and that type of profiling at the border. And then you come back home, and then you get faced with the FBI. Even just today, we had a community member who came to our office who had a question about FBI harassment. We see that all the time. The Muslim community gets visited by the FBI. In fact, 90% of the cases, or majority of the cases we see, do not result in anything. So we see the FBI harassment, we see the border protection harassment, and then we see the local police harassment. Where, so for a group of Muslims might be praying at a corner, and then somebody calls the SWAT team against them, you know, right? Or the type of case that we saw earlier, where 4 young Muslim kids at the Minneapolis park were treated horribly by the park police, and eventually led to at least a public settlement that many of you remember from. So when it comes to what we have been dealing with, the Muslim community sees all forms of this police profiling and brutality. And we've seen the brunt end. Some of us have internalized it. We've accepted it to some extent. We've allowed this behavior to be normalized, but that's not normal. It's not acceptable. And CAIR is really important that work gets done. So again, getting back to the fundraising, we really need your support. We need that support. All of us coming together, banding in, supporting each other is critically important. And so right now we have bullying issues in our schools. Many of you may have heard about. We have issues at work still, where Muslims are treated differently, and even with law enforcement, and then also the work that we do to prevent, you know, our diversity inclusion presentations to help reduce discrimination in the workplace at different places in the state of Minnesota. So coming back to why we need your support, it's critical right now. So here's the pop sockets. If you want those, we're gonna give away those today. And I believe we will be giving away our first of these mystery bag donations, or these mystery bags. So this is a good way to get involved. We also have the prayer mats, and we do have different colors, just in case you know, like, you know, at the QVC, they're like, oh, the blue is almost out. The blue, no, I'm just kidding. No, the blue's not out. But you get the point. We have all these different prayer mats, and then obviously we also have the amazing webcam covers, as long as we have them. So do we have any more updates? Just wanted to check in with our fundraising team behind the scenes with Kate, if there's a new donation we wanted to highlight. You're all back on the screen now.
We're all back.
We made it. Yes, we just wanted to shout out a thank you to our recent $3,000 donor. Just came in. So hooray. Those prayer rugs and pop sockets are going to go fast. So
Great.
Wonderful.
We also have an anonymous donor of $500 from Blaine. Should we start throwing it? Let's start pitting the cities against each other. That's what I like doing. Blaine versus Eden Prairie.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So no, that's good. Thank you for the wonderful update. Keep those coming. You know, make that big donation, but also make that small donation. You know, so some of you are watching, you can make that donation. Make that donation while right now you're watching this feed, and you know, encourage others to do that as well. So I really appreciate that. It means a lot. It definitely means a lot. I see Sister Ruqiyya has shared the link, and so I appreciate that. And
hi, Ruqiyya.
Yeah, for the rest of you who are watching us right now, it means a lot that you're here to support CAIR-Minnesota. You see us a lot. You know, I always say that you count on us to be out there and respond to our community needs, and we hope that you can also be there. For us, we can count on you. So, you know, the work doesn't end. You know, just as soon as the trial was done, that same weekend, we have an attack against the mosque in Moorhead, and it's a very vicious attack with vandalism and spray painting, death to Islam, and so we have an event actually coming up Saturday, tomorrow, in Moorhead, with the mosque there, the leadership there, and the community from there. So we're really excited about that and an opportunity. We saw amazing turnout from the community on Monday there that came to support. So the work doesn't end. We need to continue to put the pressure on. And right now, the No Ban Act passed on the House of the federal House, and we're hoping to see it passed in the Congress and then to become law. And we will end whatever no ban ever, by a president. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and so I encourage all of you to get involved and donate. Do we have updates now? Do we want to do another update, or staff update, and then come back to fundraising?
Yeah, well, Kate and Patty are with us. If they want to give us the fund development update for this past year, that would be awesome.
Sure. I can start with the grant stuff. I'm kind of primarily in charge of all things grant related. And well, early in the pandemic, we were able to partner with Propel nonprofits and able to procure a rather large grant from the Minnesota Disaster Recovery Fund. And we distributed it between 43 Minnesota mosques, which really helped them out, especially in those early days when they weren't able to fundraise on Friday nights. And so that was something that we were really proud of doing. And actually in 2020, we really exceeded our grants goal overall. A good portion of it was the Bush Community Innovation Award, which was a very large grant. But we also received a good deal of rapid response funding for COVID relief, and also some funding regarding our Census 2020 work, along with our Get Out the Vote campaign. And so the focus moving forward in 2021 and into the future is to start to try to connect with more national foundations. We've got some really wonderful connections with quite a few Minnesota foundations and a couple of nationals, not very many though, but we're going to try to connect with the big national foundations such as the Ford Foundation and Doris Duke Foundation, and who are really kind of really clued in as far as social justice and we're especially focused on our police accountability work, which we think is going to have a national impact on United States cities, you know, just across the state, the whole country. But I'd like to just kind of mention a few of just some acknowledgement of a few of our current funders. Bush Foundation, of course, Blue Cross, still renting these teeth, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota Foundation, St. Paul Foundation, Minneapolis Foundation, Rochester Area Foundation, they're a new funder of ours this year, Minnesota Voice, Propel Nonprofits, Tides Foundation, the American Muslim Fund, Headwaters Foundation, and Proteus Fund. That's just a few of our 17 funders or so that we have. And that's about it. We're just kind of keeping the good relationships going that we've already got with our funders, and then just trying to connect with more national foundations.
Great. I can jump in here. Hello, I'm Kate King. I am our fund development manager, so working with all of our individuals. Relatively new, like I said. I started in October, which was just an absolutely bananas time to start, but it was so fun. And one of the really big things that we had come in at the end of last year was Give to the Max Day in November, and that day we raised $10,000 over the course of the 12 hours. So that was really, really exciting. As far as going into 2021, we didn't really know what to expect. We're here a year into the pandemic, so it's going to be nonetheless, and so we have so far in the past just 2 weeks gotten 59 new donors just around our police accountability work. So we really reach to new groups of people, engage our community in new ways, and they're really responding what we're doing. So that's really been just wonderful that we're able to reach so many new folks in just 2 weeks. And then going forward, we have starting on May 4th and 5th. So May 1st, tomorrow starts the new round of CAIR-MN, the Give It Home, and we were selected by EON, a housing nonprofit. They're going to partner with us and promote our work on May 4th and May 5th. So it's really exciting as well to be building these new partnerships with other nonprofits in the area. So it's going to be a great year. You know, we've overcome a lot of hurdles. We still have a long way to go. So, you know, I am happy to meet with all of our individual donors. If you'd like to sit down and chat and tell me, you know, what you think that we're doing great, and even what we can work on, I'd love to hear that, and I'd love to chat with you. So please send me an email, and you know, let's get to know each other.
Thank you guys for sharing so much. Can you tell me a little bit about kind of what the best parts of this year has been for you guys? I know it's you doing everything from online. We're in the midst of a pandemic, an uprising. How has that reflected your work?
I think the thing for me was that I was concerned at the beginning of the pandemic that funders were not going to be too concerned with civil rights. I just had this nervousness about, oh my gosh, with the pandemic, they're going to be worried about food shelves and homeless shelters. And of course, those things are very important concerns, you know, but I was really wrong about that. Civil rights are still very important to foundations, and our funders still really care about the work that we do in the social justice work. And then after George Floyd was murdered, I think it just proved to me, you know, over and over that our funders really care about the work that we do. And that kind of solidified everything for me, was that, yeah, you know, people care about what we do. You know, it just kind of confirmed everything for me.
Yeah, very similar for me as well. You know, I was worried a little bit. There was just that big push of momentum after George Floyd was murdered, and I was worried that it would lapse. But like I said, we've gotten 59 new donors around our police accountability in just 2 weeks. And so I'm really, really excited to see the community and the CAIR supporters just keeping that momentum going, supporting our work, demanding that accountability. I'm really glad to be a part of that and supporting it.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. Yeah, I think the work we do is more often than not really heavy. And it's really hard because I think often we get emails and phone calls and they're not really good news. And I know you guys are constantly calling donors to make sure that our work is funded. And I really appreciate you. And I believe Deilani will jump in now because he has something to tell us.
Yes, I am jumping in because I'm ready to fundraise again. Let's go, everybody.
All right, let's go.
We've given away now one of these, so there's got 9 more to go. I'm gonna grab more from here, but we need you guys to step in right now and donate as you're watching this the fundraiser. We really hope you can donate. I want to share with you one of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ talks about, and the Prophet ﷺ says, "Ma naqasa malu min sadaqa." And the Prophet ﷺ actually doesn't swear a lot in his hadith, but in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ swears, and he mentions 3 things, and of those is the "ma naqasa malu min sadaqa," that when you give sadaqah, and CAIR is zakat eligible, that when you give sadaqah, that it actually will not decrease your wealth. And this is something that I think it's important, especially for us right now in the month of Ramadan, as we're thinking, think about it right now, like the entire US and the world were watching the Derek Chauvin trial. They were watching what was happening there. You were talking about it. Everyone around you was talking about it. And Derek Chauvin trial exposed police brutality. But as I said, it didn't expose the FBI harassment that is happening to Muslims. It didn't expose the harassment, the fact that Muslims, there's a terminology that flying while being Muslim, right? That still exists. And sometimes you don't even have to be Muslim. You just have to look like a Muslim and you're going to get harassed at the airplane or harassed and not be allowed to board, right? In fact, CAIR-Minnesota was founded after there was a great deal of harassment by the FBI. The inception of CAIR-Minnesota was built on police and FBI harassment against the Muslim community, where they were targeting our Muslim community, they were targeting our leaders, and it was a very difficult time. And CAIR became a strong arm of the Muslim community to push back against this type of brutality. And so I want to remind us all on that. And then all the other work that we're doing, election fraud, and particularly when it came to the election, the hoax of fraud, and it was used against our community. But not only that, the election suppression that was happening. There was a company that was hired, was trying to hire ex-military to intimidate voters, specifically targeting areas where we know there's a large number of immigrants and particularly Muslims. And so we fought against that. We sued the company, and now we have won that lawsuit. And we have a settlement in place. And among the countless number of cases our legal department not only is handling, but the cases that we're settling. Not all of our cases, as Don mentioned in that video, are actually shown on TV. There's not a lot of press conference. Majority of our casework that we do happens behind the scenes. And a lot of times the cases that we settle, we cannot talk about because of the confidentiality in those settlements. So, and this we do every week, almost every month or two, there is some case that's coming to a conclusion and a relief is happening for our community, and there is some change happening. So I want you to invest in that. I want you to invest in justice. I want you to invest in justice around, not only here, but across this country and across our state. So tonight and this Ramadan, this is a Ramadan where we have been reflecting on justice, and I think it's important to invest in that. And many of you, alhamdulillah, have been supporting our work in many ways. So as you support us financially, I hope you can also support us with volunteering and your time and your energy. And so right now, go to CAIR-MN. .com/Ramadan. It should appear on the bottom there, as you can see it, and then donate there, and we will love to give you one of these beautiful mystery gift bags, as well as you can pick one of these items that we're giving away today while we supplies last. The pop sockets, you can get 2 of these for your family, or the prayer mats. Right now, Ramadan, for some of us are still going to Taraweeh. the prayer mats will work perfectly. Actually, my prayer mats is like right here. I think it's in my back pocket. I'm not going to pull it out, but you get it. There you go. Prayer mat goes perfectly in your pocket. We have a couple of colors. I don't know if you really want the blue. The blue really looks nice with the CAIR logo, right? But all of them. You could also pick up one of these, which is actually really helpful for your children, especially if they're at school and they have these laptops. These are webcam. Let me do this. That's kind of cool. These are webcam privacy. You put on there, and then you can slide it over, and then it will protect your webcam from being shown. So yeah, I know I should be on QVC, but I'm not on QVC. The red one is about to be over with. No, I'm just kidding. The burgundy. I think it's the burgundy. And just like in QVC, we're gonna say, hey, you could do this monthly. So put your donations monthly. So let's say you give $500. You know, $500 is a lot of money, I know, but when you turn it into $40 a month, doesn't sound like a lot of money. You know, that you can't get out of some McDonald's with $40 a month these days. So $40 is a lot of money, but when you look at it from a monthly perspective, it's a lot. And many of us pay a lot of money for subscriptions. We really don't use that well because they're smart. They get you into subscription, right? But what about the justice work that's happening every day around our state? What about the legal defense that we offer for free for our community? What about the advocacy that we're doing every single day? What about the civic engagement that we're doing? The census work today that saved our state from losing a congressional seat to 89 people. 89 people. That's how many people that Minnesota had to keep the seat, one congressional seat. We could have lost. In fact, all projections pointed out that we would be losing a seat to North Carolina. And North Carolina, I think, gained a new seat anyway. So we've got a lot of work to do. We need your support. And tonight is special for us because it's Ramadan. It's usually our moment where we come together and we are in seeing each other, connecting with each other, but we can't do that. You know, I remember those Ramadan fundraisers, you know, we would have 300, 400 people together in one place and reflecting on a year, but also more importantly, continuing the support of CAIR-Minnesota. And CAIR-Minnesota is truly indebted to all of the donors that we have. And the hard work that all of you have. And so I want to just remind to all of our donors who have donated, you know, every single time a community member is calling CAIR-Minnesota, every single time we're challenging Islamophobia, you are there with us. You are there with us. And so that's why I'm asking all of you to support. Please donate generously right now. Go to CAIR-MN.com/Ramadan, donate there. Ask for one of these gifts that we're giving away, the pop socket, yay, the prayer mats, and then obviously the webcams covers. We have some of those still remaining, but as long as supplies exist, we'll get it to you. So, and then tell us a story, maybe something you want to share. What inspires you about CAIR? And we'd love to bring that up and talk and mention that as donations are coming in. So it is that time. We're getting closer to the end of our fundraiser today, but we've got a lot more time remaining, so I want to just keep asking all of you to jump in a little bit here and give what you can. You know, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, give from what Allah has given you. Everything that we give is actually truly what Allah has given us. So Zainab, I see you coming back in. Do we have good more news? Are we going to see Patty and Kate coming in any minute here? Because every time they come in with the big numbers. Now, I like the little numbers too. You know, one of our donors gave $50 right now. That's powerful too. So we want to see big numbers and little numbers come in today.
Yes, I think while we wait for them to join, Jaylani, I kind of want you to touch on this fall when there was a lot of stuff going on with the election. I know you were also in the midst of having a child, and I know you were getting a lot of calls from the community. Can you tell us a little bit about how that kind of reflected your work on a personal level? Because the Muslim community was attacked a lot, as well as the community on a broader level.
Yeah, I mean, alhamdulillah, I mean, my wife and I have been blessed with a beautiful child. And you know, the one thing I think all of us have been talking about is that, you know, we want to build a world where our children and grandchildren are living in a much better world than we're living in right now. And, you know, the Trump years coming to an end was a welcome, but, you know, that energy didn't dissipate. it didn't just go anywhere. You know, we had 70+ million people vote for a president who publicly denied Muslims from coming to the United States and then legislated it. You know, and had not only xenophobic, Islamophobia, but many challenges, many issues. And so our country right now is in a very unique moment. I personally believe that we're not going to get out of this by continuing to talk to the people who we agree with. It's a time that we really need to have the hard conversations, and that energy of what we saw on January 6th in this country, when the entire capital of the United States was sieged by white supremacists, where they killed officers, police officers, where they harmed other individuals, and whether they defaced our capital. All of that happened with the same people who also threaten our community, threaten our mosques, threaten our organizations. And they exist, they're everywhere, and we need to push back against them. And right now we see that in the vandalism that happened in Moorhead. This just happened last week. This is not last year, this is last week it happened. And this is gonna continue to happen until we do something about it. You know, I always talk about sympathies. They're great to have sympathies, but if we don't have solutions, we're not gonna get out of our problems. And while all of that is happening, we are in the middle of, you know, a second coming of a really movement for civil rights. And it happened on 38th in Chicago when George Floyd was killed, and the entire country has now moved forward to holding police accountable. We are more aware of these incidents than we have been before. More people are willing to document it. If it wasn't for those brave people to actually record what happened to George Floyd's story may have not been known by many people. And the story would have not come out the way it did, right? And so, and we want the world to be a safer place for everybody. We want law enforcement to work in a way that keeps us safe, not to protect some people and to hurt other people. And there is no accidents in law enforcement the way we see it. A 26-year veteran, Kim Potter, can't say she made a mistake by killing a young man for pulling him over for having license plate tabs. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of work that we have to do. And I said earlier, many of us Muslims still, we are put into secondary screening at airports. We are US citizens, probably born and raised here, and you're still being put into secondary room to be vetted if you're gonna be allowed to come into the country that you call home until you come home. So it's just absolutely, you know, just the reality of what we're living in. And that's something I just wanna make sure all of us are aware of, that we have to fight, and we have to fight continuously, and it takes a lot of work. And yes, we're doing this for our children. Uh-oh, Patty's in, means announcement.
I'm in.
I feel like the NFL draft. Ding, 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 ding.
I want you to know we have 5 $500 donations. Takbir, takbir, takbir.
Wow, mashallah.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Oh, it's just
$500. That's
$500. That's just so amazing to me. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your support. I'm assuming you're probably going to be grabbing the burgundy because the burgundy is done. I'm just kidding.
Mazer says that's a lot of $5 footlongs.
That's a lot of $5 footlongs. Yes, but that money is going to go toward, you know, pushing back against Islamophobia. That money is going toward, you know, responding to the legal needs of our community, and we have a lot of work to do. So
there's so much work. But just, you know, just because it's been kind of, you know, dawning on me. Well, not just dawning on me, but, you know, having worked through this last administration, working at CAIR as a non-Muslim especially, it's been really like, I can't imagine like a better time to be working with CAIR during that Trump administration. But just because we have a different administration right now does not mean the work is done.
Absolutely.
It's almost gotten worse right now. The haters are mad. They're really mad, and the hate is still out there. The hate was there before Trump, and it's continuing on. And it's just, our work is unfortunately really cut out for us. And yeah,
absolutely. Okay, you have more news? We got, I mean, Patty came in with slinging $500.
Well, I can add the 6th $500 donation.
All right. Here.
But also, we've gotten some great stories here Kate H said that she supports CAIR because she has seen the dedicated work of so many CAIR staffers and the essential need for care in our community. So thank you, Kate, for your donation and for your kind words. And
Kate H she's a top volunteer, a top supporter, top volunteer.
Yes,
Thank you, Kate.
yes.
Thank you
so much. And Drew also has donated and said, I support CAIR because of all the important social justice work you're doing throughout Minnesota. So thank you, Drew, for your donation and your kind words. We really, really appreciate them. And like Jaylani was saying, we have gotten so many smaller donations and we don't want to neglect that. Those 10, 20, $50 donations, they go a long way.
It all adds up. It all adds up.
It does. So thank you so much to everyone who has donated at any level. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. And I just want to acknowledge and give a shout out to you. No, I'm pointing the wrong way. I can't figure this out that way. Zainab, for your work this year. We've hired you this year. You are our community advocacy manager. You are doing an amazing job, truly.
I appreciate it.
I'm so impressed with you.
I am so incredibly lucky to be working for an organization that does so much work in the community, and I feel like every day I'm learning and I'm stepping into new shoes. So
guys, hold on a second. I have some announcement to make.
Okay.
I just got a confirmation. It's anonymous.
Yes.
A family has just donated $10,000 to CAIR.
Oh.
Look at me. I just leave the screen for a minute and I come back. I'm telling you, these little bags, man, they're going out of there. They're just like literally sliding out of here.
I'm speechless, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, I know this family very well. They've been supporters of CAIR-Minnesota, and you know, I see them all the time in this work and social justice work, and you know, we are very fortunate to have them in Minnesota. You know, I'm so blessed to know them. I'm so blessed for their support, and it's incredible and powerful to have family like that support the work that we do. And he has a beautiful statement that he sent. He said, I can't imagine our Minnesota community without CAIR. Every year I have developed increasing appreciation for what we do. So
thank you.
That was beautiful and well said, and it really means a lot to us. And so that's powerful. So it's going, guys. We got 10K, we got $500, we got $100, we got, you know, 1,000, 5,000. They're coming in right now, and it means a lot to all of us. So it's a very, very pleasing to hear that, and I'm hoping to hear from some of the other donors as well tonight from them. Inshallah.
And I can jump in and say, with that $10,000, we are officially 50% of the way to our goal for money raised in Ramadan.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's amazing.
We're 50% way, which means we're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Can we get the rest of you to come in, you know, I have to tell the story. So I love how Somali mothers fundraise, okay? Somali mothers, they fundraise from a phone tree, and they just like fundraise. Somali mothers are like, I'm not going to fundraise for myself. I'm going to take a big pledge, and I'm going to just go around and talk to all my friends, and they're going to connect. I remember this. I was actually sharing this today at Friday Prayers. I remember my mom, I came to the house one day, and my mom was sitting with a woman I didn't know. So as soon as I walked in, before I even took my shoes off, you know, we take our shoes off when we come to the house. About to take my shoes off, and then my mom is like, go to the ATM and pull some money out. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Then I went out, came back, and then I gave the money. My mom gave the money to the woman. The woman left. And then I asked my mom, do you know this woman? And she's like, nope. She just came and she was collecting money, I believe, for a mosque or some event, some wonderful effort. And my mom said, I don't know her. She knocked on the door. That's what she's doing. We gave that money. And she knew my mom, but obviously my mom maybe did not know her that well. So, you know, and that's how it is. That woman was going around collecting money for a cause that she really believed in. So I always believe that that's something that a lot of mothers do. You know, Somali mothers might be just like really sharp at it or whatever, but that's me being really biased, by the way. But again, this ability of like, you know, connecting with others, encouraging them to do good. So if you're in a chat box right now, if you're in a WhatsApp group, if you're in like, I don't know, Facebook group or something, just put it out there, you know, put it out there right now. That's one thing you could do. You could go online and create a Facebook fundraiser for us, you know, a couple of $100 and challenge your friends. You can always do the birthday one. We don't have to wait for your birthday, because the birthday, you might have 10 wonderful organizations you're picking from. But in Ramadan, you can just put it out there, and it's a good way to support our work and to challenge your network to support. And when everybody pitches in, you could really collect that money really quickly.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing news. So keep them coming. Tell us a little bit why you love CAIR-Minnesota. One of the things that stands out for you, and it means a lot to us to see that support coming in, and so that's amazing. That's amazing that we have that. Okay. I see, I think we have announced this one. There's another donation that came in at 500 at 7, I believe 7:14. So that was one of our last.
The sixth one, yeah, that was the sixth one.
The sixth one, yeah. Great job, great job. Thank you so much for this.
Fabulous.
Wonderful donors, wonderful donors. Looks like Blaine is winning right now.
Yeah, I think I keep seeing Blaine popping up there. I don't know. Blaine is kind of kicking butt here.
Yes.
I'm rooting for Edina. I think Edina's gonna get in. So.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of continue with our program until we while we have other ones. I will be introducing our deputy director.
It's done. The burgundy is done. I'm just kidding.
No, burgundy is my favorite one.
Just kidding.
Match my bag. Mohammed Ibrahim will be joining us. He's our deputy director. He does so much across the organization, and I'm very excited to hear about all the things that we've been doing this year.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. If you have not met me yet, my name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I'm the deputy director with CAIR-Minnesota. Been around for about a year or so. Last time I think I came, I came to CAIR about a year ago or so. So as it was described to me when I first came to Minnesota, my job is to be like Shaquille O'Neal and Jelani is Kobe, and every single time he throws an alley-oop, I'm supposed to dunk it, right? So my entire job is to try to dunk as many basketballs from Jelani as possible. And to be honest with you, the first time that I had to dunk a basketball on my own was probably when Jelani was away for maternity leave, and this was the same time when the Project Veritas story kind of hit. And it's really, important for us to recognize that, the Muslims in Minnesota are really unique in the sense that, we're immigrants, we're Muslim, a strong majority of us are Black, and a strong majority of that are women, right? So we're really in this really kind of four-corner intersection that white supremacists really hate. So we do get, a lot of attacks on the community, whether it's based on the color of our skin, or what we believe in, or or what's what we're covering, for those that do have hair, on our heads. So I think it's really important for us to recognize that we do have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of hate that stems out of this. And one of the hates that was manifested in the form of really election attack in trying to really undermine the Muslim and the Somali vote in Minnesota. And we saw that with the story that this fake news agency kind of brought about to really undermine the election. And that kind of spited from what Jelani and Zainab were talking about earlier, was really this attack on having armed folks coming out to our elections, polling stations, to really intimidate voters from really going out to vote. And alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah, we're able to win an injunction at the federal level to not allow folks with armed AR rifles or guns or any means to come and intimidate folks, and have to be at least 2,500 feet away from the polling station. So that was a win, alhamdulillah. And during that time as well, we're really doing heavy census pushing. We were able to engage over 35,000 people in our just from our census and civic engagement work. So we worked with a sister named Hodo. So Jazakallah khair to Hodo as well, and all the amazing work that she has done through Minnesota State Voices and so on and so forth. So that was awesome. And really a lot of our work is really comprised on since the murder of George Floyd really spiraled us to continue to push on making sure that we get some police accountability. It's really hard to get justice, because justice really means that George Floyd being here with us today, that means, Dalal Eid being here, that means Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, Isaac Aiden, you name it, that's justice, right? And them still being here, being able to spend time with their family. But the best that we can ask for really is accountability, and we really push for this accountability work starting like with the inception of CAIR-Minnesota, with the FBI visits and the harassments that they induce really on our communities, and as well as mistreatment and ill treatment of Muslims and really BIPOC communities as well, across the state of Minnesota. And how do we hold those accountable, especially those who are using our tax-paying dollars really to oppress us. So really we've been working on really some 44 recommendations that were brought forth by Communities United Against Police Brutality, and we're really trying to push it across the state legislature, and also hoping to kind of change some of the things that happens at the city level as well. So, and that really spiraled onto a lot of work that we currently do right now, which we have these 8 bills that we're really pushing, and 5 of those bills end up on the omnibus that we're pushing for right now, and there's a conference committee that's meeting starting Monday on April or March 3rd, and we're really hoping that we can get some police accountability measures across to the finish line. And some of those measures are ending statute of limitations, which does not currently allow families to grieve, because families have to grieve, learn how to fight and do all these things within 3 years, which I think is extremely unfair, and we really need to change this, the laws on that. There are laws currently in the state of Minnesota that say that civilian oversight committees do not have the ability to subpoena or to inspect. I want to make sure that language it's removed, and cities should have the ability to choose if they want their civilians to oversight or to oversee their your police departments. We're also working for pushing for legislation that will allow families to get footage of critical incidents, especially when it comes to police killings within 48 hours, and that includes the footage, all cameras. That also includes all metadata as well, and then for that to be released to the public within 90 days. And then we're also pushing for the ending of qualified immunity, as well as ending police-only response to mental health crisis calls. So we've been really pushing to work on legislation as such. And I remember a couple of Sundays ago, we were celebrating the life of Justin Tigan, who was murdered at the hands of the St. Paul police, where we learned that the murder of Dante Wright, and things were kind of developing, and I was going home, and Zainab called me like, "Hey, where are you? Like, we're headed over here," and we had no idea kind of the details until we ended up going there, and we just kind of saw this really strong hostility from the police as we kind of try to really take control of the situation to make sure everything's kind of calms down. And then from there, we learned that there were some children or some kids that were out by the police department. And, Jelani and I were first to respond on the scene to kind of calm the community down and make sure that the kids are being safe while they exercise their First Amendment rights. And with that being said, that's when we were met with brutal force from the police department as we were trying to figure out what's going on. And, the lights were turned off, and we started getting tear gassed and so on and so forth. So that lets you know that, we still have a long way of going, because not only are we killing black and brown bodies, but via state, sanctioned violence, but at the same time, we are still trying to police community reaction to that state-sanctioned violence. So we do a lot of work in terms of really pushing for advocacy, and really, it's really important for us to not only push for police accountability, but really reform the system, and really create a new system that really works for all of us. So that's been some of the work that we've been kind of up to on the last few months. Also, we do have a lot of the cases that we are advocating for as well as hoping to get some TPS status for some countries that are really in dire need of that, as well as continuing to push the envelope in terms of how do we get our communities more civically engaged. We do provide trainings as well, Islamophobia trainings, how to spot Islamophobia one-on-one, and also teaching folks on how to really eradicate hate, as we saw the hate incident happen in Moorhead, and which we went up there, Moorhead, and we're going up there tomorrow as well, and we hope we'll see all of you there, inshallah. But it's really important for us to band together, identify hate, and also work together to dismantle hate in all forms. Another thing that we did that was phenomenal this year is that we worked with 25 residents over in the Woodbury community that were experiencing, strong discrimination in terms of them not getting their maintenance requests, respected or worked on within a timely manner. And we helped work with the community. We did send a landlord letter. We notified the Attorney General's office, as well as we worked with Sahan Journal as well to kind of expose kind of the atrocity and kind of the terrible status or the terrible nature and their living conditions, and how it was really inhumane for them to continue to live in such manner. And we've gotten some good news, and a lot of those units have been renovated and fixed, and we're not really hearing any more or additional problems so far. And we hope that we can continue to do that type of work, because housing justice is also justice. So like Jailani said, we can continue to subscribe to Hulu, we can continue to subscribe to Netflix, but the best thing that you could do right now is to subscribe to some justice. So if you have not donated yet, please go ahead and donate. Support our work. It's important for us because everybody always says, hey, this terrible thing happened. How come CAIR isn't doing this? How come CAIR isn't doing that? Well, CAIR could do more if you can support CAIR. So let's be quite honest. This work is necessary, but I think our ultimate goal is for us to not see Jailani on TV anymore. I don't want to be in this work. Our goal is for us to maybe find some other jobs, and we can maybe work in IT or business development, or Jailani can go back to being a survey planner or work at Walmart or the many jobs that he had before. But I think we want to live in a world where we do not need any civil rights organizations. That is something that we all receive, and it's hard for us to imagine or continue to strive living in that world without having your support. So inshallah, if you are able, please donate. Please support the work that we are doing. And if you're not able to donate, share this to somebody that maybe can or has the ability to donate, inshallah.
Mohammed, thank you so much for kind of going over the work you've done this year and sharing. We've been in many spaces, whether that's in the housing world or the police violence or education. For you, being the deputy director at CAIR and being out in the streets or on TV, or sometimes even meeting with community at like midnight, because that's the only time you can meet with them. How has that work been for you and as well as for the community?
It's been kind of interesting because I remember I woke up one morning. As you see, my face is kind of a little crooked. It's getting a little bit better. So I suffered from Bell's palsy for a little while, and alhamdulillah, I'm almost better now. And I remember I woke up in the morning, I got Bell's palsy. My wife was just like, oh my God, like what's going on? And I kind of was just like, I got to go to the office because we got to do all these things or whatever the case is. And as I was working, I didn't really realize, how my face was. And I remember going out to a protest later on that evening. And for us, to be honest with you, the sad reality that we live in is that the work does not ever stop, and we're always like in go mode. And for me, it's we might not even like feel it, and we are working a lot and so on and so forth. But it's really important for us to like encourage and empower other people to come in and join this fight, so that way we could maybe all quickly can get to the destination that we all strive to. But we really need all of our hands on deck. And for me personally, especially in Ramadan, they say this is a form of ibadah as well, being able to continue to fight for the people and continue to do the people's work, because if we're not going to do it, who will? And if you're not going to help us or support us, to be honest, who will, right? So it's important for us to band together and support one another. And for me personally, I think in the last a couple of months, we've been really tunnel visioned, kind of like fighting for, something, right? Like we're fighting for justice, but actually seeing it materialize in getting a guilty verdict. That was a reminder that, so first of all, like, it happened in the month of Ramadan. So, alhamdulillah. And second of all, it was the people that really demanded for, the police officers to be arrested. It was the people that demanded for the charges to be upgraded, right? It was the people that demanded for the case to stay in Hennepin County. And ultimately, it was the people, or 12 members of the people, that came and convicted Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd. So all of those things didn't just kind of like happen overnight. It took a lot of organizing. It took to taking to the streets. It took a lot of protesting. It took a lot of phone calls. It took a lot of action alerts, right? And we're all proud of the end result, which was getting that guilty conviction. But we also have to realize the amount of work that it took from the community to actually make all of those things happen, right? And yes, that was something to celebrate, but to me it was bittersweet, because we shouldn't be celebrating something as simple as justice. It's like we should be the same as us just drinking water, right? So we do have a long way to go, but at the same time, we cannot get there without your support, and we cannot get there unless we're all together, inshallah.
You mentioned a little bit about the legislator and the work we're doing, and I know a lot of times Jaylani always says we need accountability and justice inside the courtroom, outside the courtroom, as well as from elected officials, and to go back and knock on the same doors that have the same people that have knocked on your doors. Tell us a little bit about the work that we're doing around the legislation and police accountability and how that's been going.
I think so. Right now, so we did push 8 bills that were jacketed, and 5 of those bills ended up being on the House Public Safety Omnibus. So those bills were doing a study around police officers, having liability insurance. Was ending the statute of limitations. It was ending police only response to police, ending police only response to mental health crisis calls, ending no-knock warrants, as well as allowing families to see footage of critical incidents of their loved ones within 48 hours. So those bills are currently on the Public Safety Omnibus. Unfortunately, on the House side, unfortunately, we have not had any hearings on the Senate side, but Speaker Gazelka is finally allowing a conference committee to occur, which starts on Monday, and is really important for us to look at the members who are on the conference committee and make sure that we keep all of the police accountability bills at the end of the agreed conference committee omnibus. So that's kind of the push that we're at right now. We do have some additional bills that we hope to get to the finish line, and we understand that these bills are not a silver bullet that's going to end police violence, but it's a great start to holding them accountable, as well as we have standalone bills like currently you can get criminalized for reporting police misconduct. So we want to end that provision, as well as ending qualified immunity. And we do have one more bill that I'm not remembering right now, but that's those are going to be standalone bills that will be hitting the floor for a vote. And inshallah that we can see those things, because George Floyd died here. He did not die in Colorado, he did not die in New Mexico, he did not die in New York, and those states and those cities have already passed police accountability measures, and we have yet to do anything here. We passed watered down bills last session, and the news and everybody called it sweeping reforms, but they did not stop Dalal Eid from dying. They did not stop George Dante Wright from dying, right? And we need to stop having in response to minor traffic violations, like if your taillight is out, somebody with a gun should not come up and approach you and stop you, or if you did not pay your tabs or whatever the case, you have expired tabs or whatever the case is, those things should not end up in a death sentence, to say those.
No, absolutely, and thank you for sharing that. And it's nice to have a conviction in such a large case, but we know that we're not fighting with individual cops, we're fighting with an entire system, and if we don't get these bills passed, there won't be any accountability. We work with a larger broad of coalition, and part of that coalition is families supporting families, and I know these bills are reflective of their stories. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so first I would like to shout out to Shira Garraway and the amazing work that she does with supporting families against police violence. And a lot of the bills are rooted in the family stories in terms of what they experienced and helping them really fight. So for example, like the biggest bill for the families is ending the statute of limitations, and that does not allow families currently to have enough time to bring forth a case. And with this ending statute of limitations bill, it would actually allow a 5-year look-back period for any family that did not have the opportunity yet to bring forth to bring forth the lawsuits. So there's going to be that 5-year look back period. And then after that, moving forward, there will not be any limitation in terms of time when it comes to families bringing forward, wrongful death cases. So a lot of these stories are really, and a lot of these bills are rooted in the families. And we do have families that spent months and months and years without being able to see the footage of how their loved ones were stolen from them by the hands of police. So that's why it's really important for families to have the right and the ability to see footage within 48 hours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Mohammed. And thank you for all you do. You're always on the ground as a legislator. You're inside courts fighting for all injustices that are happening in our community. And you work so tirelessly. So thank you so much. And so next, unless we have a donation coming in, or Jelani wants to come in, I will introduce. Do you have a donation?
No, we've got a couple more donations, but I just want to thank. I know we're getting to the end of the program. For those who've been with us loyally watching the program, thank you so much. Please continue to share with your networks as you're watching us, and donate right now at CAIR-MN.com/Ramadan. I think Mohammed covered a lot, particularly when it comes to the work that we're doing around police brutality, but also all the other things that we're doing around law enforcement, and that's a big part of our work. I know we settled the case with the Park Police that it was pretty well known, 6-figure settlement for that case. So we've been doing this work for a long time, and I know it seems that maybe some of us have been probably more noticeable. But the reality is that we've actually been doing this work for a very long time, and we need an end to it. We need a much more just society. So if you can jump in right now, we're at that last bits and pieces of the day. We're getting close to the what I call iftar time, when all of us start to count the clock down. It's as Mohammed said, that this subscribe to justice. That's what we need. We need people to subscribe to justice and support justice work, and that's what CAIR's mission is about. Really, it's to be a leading advocate for justice and mutual understanding. That is our mission of CAIR-Minnesota, and that's what we want to live by, and that's what we want to do. And we want to get to a world where we don't need organizations like CAIR, as Mohammed mentioned. So hop in right now, donate what you can. Please share the video. Social media is about what you share, how you talk about it. Consider maybe making starting an online fundraiser for CAIR-Minnesota. I think that would be very good if you could do that. It's a very few steps you can do online when you do that on Facebook or some of the other platforms. I really appreciate all the allies that have been supporting us who are not Muslim, who really support CAIR-Minnesota, not only just our staff, but really a tremendous support of people from all faiths that see the value of CAIR-Minnesota and the work that we do and support us. And so I know you're enjoying us on this Ramadan, where all of us Muslims are fasting and having a very spiritual inclined time. But I encourage you all to get involved and support the work in one way or fashion or the other. I want to just come back and remind you, we still have Burgundy. We didn't get rid of it. We still have the prayer mats. If you're not happy with the prayer mats, the pop sockets, you could get 2 of these, one for your family. And then we still have also the little, what I call, I'm going to keep Zainab out for a second so people can see. All right, sorry Zainab. And then you can see this is the webcam covers, and we got the 2 colors. So there you go. Join us right now and make a donation. We started the program with a beautiful recitation by Brother Ahmed. Our staff went through introductions, our board, and then we kind of covered a couple of different areas of our work that we do. I know one of the areas that we also do an amazing job is in diversity and inclusion, among other areas. So I'm going to pass it back to Zainab now, but I'm encouraging all to donate, and I will bring and talk a little bit about testimony. It looks like donations are still coming in. So why don't we bring up Patty real quick, Patty and Kate, to give us a little update. Sorry, Mohammed. A little update.
I understand that we just got a $100 donation. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Yes.
Yes, and a $300 donation just came in as well. So that's very
That's wonderful.
exciting.
In these last few minutes of this virtual fundraiser, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's donated during this event and during Ramadan, and for those still contemplating. I know you're going to do it.
And we're happy to say that we do offer other ways to donate other than just through our website. Contact me, Lani, Patty, donate gifts of stock. You can donate that required minimum deduction from your retirement fund. Just send us a note and we will help you with that. And thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your shares and interactions on social media. We really appreciate all of it.
Awesome. I love that donations are still coming in.
I'm still texting people right now, so it looks like people are responding. So that's good news. That's good news.
Awesome. And we still have the mystery gift bag. So if you want them, please continue donating. Before we start, I introduce the next person. I want to take a moment to kind of appreciate Elise, who is our disaster coordinator, who has done so much. She's all of our backbone. She filters through all of our hate mails and calls. She's the first individual that most of our clients contact, and she's always on the ground. So I want to take a moment to appreciate her for all the work she does.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Balqis is the center of CAIR-Minnesota, so we really appreciate all of her work. And
absolutely.
And earlier we mentioned we work with a lot of coalitions, a lot of organizations who are part of our coalition. And one of those organizations is Communities United Against Police Brutality. We do have a video from Michelle Gross, who's the president of that organization, who has a few words of testimony for us.
All right, Mohammed, where's the video? All right, it might take us a minute to pull that video. Just 1 few minutes.
No worries. And while we wait for that, I want to take a moment and say we still do have the gift bags. They're missing. We're not mentioning what's in them. So if you want to kind of be entered into the drawing, I shouldn't say anything, Patty. I know there's something really good in them. So
mystery.
Exactly. If you guys want to be entered into the drawing, please continue donating, and you can also donate at the month of Ramadan. But we want to make sure that we reach our goal, and you guys continue donating.
I just want to give a shout out to Mara, who just donated. She says, "Thank you for all the work that you do. See you in the streets, and we will for sure see you soon." So thank you for your gift, and thank you for your kind words.
Thank you. Thank you, Mara.
Well, that's good news. That's one of the best ways to see each other. Let's see each other in the streets.
See you on the streets.
It's interesting. We've been in the streets this past summer and helping, co-organize a lot of the protests and events that are happening across the state. Even we went to as far as Bemidji and Baxter, Minnesota, where we've done protests and other types of actions. So that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So I think we're going to queue up the video here in a few minutes. But again, I wanted to just thank everybody who joined us and thank all of the staff for all the amazing work. And we're going to be looking forward to another challenging summer and year. There's still a lot of work ahead of us. We're still in a pandemic. COVID has not ended. So it's just one of those things that I think it's going to be critical that we continue to stay you know, as engaged as possible right now. So, and for all of our donors who are donating, thank you so much. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of your wealth and in this month of Ramadan. It means the most to us. This work would not be possible if we did not have your support, and it means a lot. So, and for Kate and Patty, thank you for all the hard work you've done. I'm gonna remind folks again, if you are joining us briefly, we do have giveaways for those who can join us. And with pop sockets. It was weird kind of getting to know what these were, but I guess they're still in, the pop sockets. And then we have the prayer mats, all colors, the black. And then the webcam covers. There we go. So we have those gifts away. We could still give, and the mystery gift. So the mystery gift. Yeah, the mystery gifts are going to be important too. So, all right. I think. All right. I think.
You want me to talk? Yeah. Hi, my name is.
All right. I think I'm going to bring up that video now. I have it queued. So.
Yeah. Misconduct, and I'm really happy to be partnering with CAIR on this issue. CAIR, I am the president of Communities United Against Police Brutality, and I have worked extensively with CAIR over the last few years, particularly around police accountability issues and other issues of ending oppression. People in the Somali community are very sensitive to police brutality and misconduct, and I'm really happy to be partnering with CAIR on this issue. CAIR brings to the table enormous resources, enormous community understanding, really smart strategies and ideas about how to take on this issue, great contacts with politicians and elected officials. So it's been a really wonderful partnership. We've been able to achieve a great deal in partnership together because CAIR brings things to the table that we don't have. We bring things to the table that maybe CAIR doesn't have, but it's a wonderful partnership. And CAIR thinks very creatively, out of the box, about how to get things to move forward. And I find that working with CAIR, we are able to get much more done than we were able to do on our own. So it's been a wonderful partnership, and I look forward to many more years of working with CAIR and supporting their efforts and them supporting our efforts to hold police accountable and to improve policing in the state of Minnesota.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that. And as a testimony of one of our partners, Michelle has been a tireless advocate for families who have been struck by state violence and police brutality. And Communities United Against Police Brutality is a thought leader and an organization that's been doing this work for a very long time. So really appreciate their support, and they're a core partner of our coalition right now, of Minnesota Coalition, that is supporting to change how policing is transformed, transformative policing changes here in the state of Minnesota, and we're really proud of that work. So, we're getting to the end. I'm hoping all of you can make that support. If you're watching this at a later time, please go ahead and donate as much as you can. Support the work that we're doing. I believe Kate may have another update.
I do. Thank you, Ahmed, for your donation. He says, I am so thankful for the tireless work you do and other local activists have done this year in the midst of the pandemic. We owe you a debt of gratitude. You are all stars. P.S. Are there any more limited edition burgundy prayer rugs? You got it.
Just for you, Ahmed. Just for you. We're gonna get you 2 of these burgundy ones. Yes, we still have the burgundy. So some of you have been watching us. That's good. That's good. That's good. I think I'm gonna be applying for a job at QVC. I think I can make it work over there. You know, I would just say that, you know, a lot of people have seen us. You know, have seen the work that we're doing and may have seen us on TV. You know, kind of on press conferences or different things. And you know, the one thing that I think for our donors that you need to know is every time you see us doing work, it's you. You know, you should really be proud of the fact that we are doing this work because you were able making it happen. And so to all of our donors, we carry you with us every moment we stand for our community, and we stand on your shoulders as you support this work. And this work is going to have an impact on not just the Muslim community, but all communities that are disfranchised, all minority communities. And as a civil rights organization, our job is to really promote a much more fair and equitable society. And we have a lot of work. I know we haven't even mentioned education achievement issues here in the state of Minnesota, and we're starting a program around education justice. We've been trying to figure out ways we can address that. The state of Minnesota has a very bad, one of the worst disparities when it comes to education. And so we're working on that. We're working on addressing the bullying. We have a case right now against the Chisago County School in partnership with our national office, and many other cases similar to that we are working on right now. So this work is absolutely powerful, important. And so Ahmed, thank you so much for your support. And yes, you're gonna get those prayer rugs, burgundy. You might, now I'm gonna start talking about the blue. You might run out of the blue, guys. I actually like the blue, especially looks like the CAIR colors. So, but yeah, please come and support our organization. And it takes a village to make something happen. And so I really hope all of you can become part of that effort. And I'm gonna keep saying that Muhammad is coined the term for us. You know, subscribes to justice. You know, subscribe to justice. Donate to justice. Let's make justice happen. And Zainab, thank you so much for emceeing and putting this program together, for all the staff, for everybody in the background who's been doing stuff, and to all of our supporters, all of our volunteers who've been able to help us out today. We really appreciate all of you. And so I think we are wrapping up. I don't know if there's any more, but we are at that tail end of the program. Since we are that close, do you want to just around that? Yeah, so as many of you know, one of the projects we're really have been really excited about is that for the first time in the history of Minnesota and probably the country, an urban mosque has gave the call to prayer out loud and during the COVID. And so we're doing that again this year. We did it again with the partnership of Masjid Dar al-Hijra, and we are working toward making it permanent so that you can hear the call to prayer in Cedar Riverside every day, every prayer, 5 times a day. That's a right that Muslims have, but also something that I think will be welcoming, especially for our senior citizens who literally live next to the mosque, and many of them, you know, their daily life revolves around going to the mosque. And so for them to hear the call to prayer and not to have a little watch, you know, do that for them, it's just a powerful testimony. So tonight, as you are watching us, we're going to give you a special edition of that. And so we're going to have Muhammad will be live from the mosque at 8 I think at 8:18 is technically when the break of the fast is. So you can break fast with us, or keep the live going on, and then you will hear the call to prayer at 8:18 at the mosque there at Dar al-Hijra, which is right here in Cedar Riverside, and it will be outdoors. So a little treat for you, for those who have been staying with us, to hear the call of the Adhan live in Minneapolis. Something we will work hardly this summer on to try to make it a permanent effort and a permanent program.
Awesome. You know, while we wait on Mohammed to do that, I kind of wanted to share a story about why I joined CAIR. My junior year of college, I was going to the University of Minnesota, and Jaylani came and he gave a presentation to one of my classes. And obviously I went to a predominantly white high school, white college, and I had never seen, let alone a Black man, a Black Muslim Somali man, give a speech at a class. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, maybe one day I'll work under a leadership of somebody who you know, represents me, who looks like me. And then 2 years later, I graduate. I end up going into the workforce, and I end up working for a corporate company. And I was working in the diversity and inclusion team, and we were doing Islam Awareness Week. And Jaylani came and presented, did our diversity and inclusion 101 on Islam 2 years later. And I remember sitting there, and we're talking about diversity and inclusion, and obviously it's much different. It is that here doing it from like a CAIR perspective than it is doing it from a corporate perspective, because you got to meet certain guidelines, right? And I'm sitting there while he's doing the presentation, and I'm like, why am I working in corporate, thinking to myself, I am going to make a difference as a Muslim woman who's really young, when I know I probably will not make as much difference as I should, as I could. And I end up applying to CAIR this year. And Jaylani does, I think I like told him this like a week ago, when I was doing an interview. I was telling the reporter why I joined CAIR, and it's not because I knew the work CAIR did, not to the extent I know now, but I knew who Jaylani was as an individual and the effect he had on students that look like me, that I went to school with, on younger people. And so now, working under his leadership, granted I went to a really good college, I went to a really good high school, I feel like I have, as an individual, gained so much more knowledge from him than I had from any other leader. And so I want to take a moment and say, like, you do so much work in the community at a national level, at a local level, and you're an activist, you're a leader, you work on so many issues. But I think more often than not, it's forgotten how much effect you have on the younger generation. And as I take on this role of being an advocacy manager, it's nice to advocate for people, but I want to be able to do what you do and give the tools that you're giving me to other people so they can then advocate for themselves. And I know we are reaching the end of the program, but I wanted to take a moment and say, like, thank you for all you've done for the community, for myself, and for other young people as well.
No, thank you, Zainab, and that's a powerful story, and I think it's a reflective of what CAIR does. And you know, I don't know, like every time I go and speak and to classrooms, how that will inspire others and the work that we do. I know that one of our communication support team, Ava, came also from a class, you know, so we've had this relationship with our ability to get out to the community, and so I really appreciate that. I appreciate your kind words, and I hope I can live up to those, be true to those recognitions. But I want to also recognize that I don't do this alone. I have this amazing team of amazing people who are incredible. I'm gonna bring you guys back on if you're, but just amazing team that constantly is out there doing some amazing work. And so I am very fortunate. I know Mohammed, I think, is driving, so we're gonna wait until he gets to the mosque there. But you know, and I know Balqis is not on there right now, but I know for the rest of the staff that are out there that have been helping us incredibly work, it just means a lot. I know Don and Alec and the legal team. I mean, you guys are just like burning the midnight oil all the time, because just a constant, you know, intake of cases. Even today, you saw one come in. Somebody came to our office and met me privately, and I put in a request. And just like every day, we're seeing these requests come in, and for Kate and Patty to keep the engines moving here. You know, Patty has been amazing. You know, 5 years, Patty. It's been 6 years for me. And you know, it just feels like forever. 6 years. 4 years of Trump felt like, you know, 25 years. But
honestly,
yes, I want to be really appreciative of all your work, and then to all of our donors who are watching with us right now. You know, all of the work that we have done is really truly reflective of just the support that we have. We have support from people all over. We have support from people who are giving us $5 to people who are giving us 10,000 and more. You know, we have support of people who don't even donate, but they volunteer their hours, and that goes a long way for the work that we do. We have people who support us by just liking our Facebook page and just following and sending us support that way. You know, I meet a lot of people in our community who appreciate our work. You know, sometimes it's hard to carry that around, but I see that every day, people who are appreciative of our work. I can't go to a Somali restaurant or, you know, a Muslim business without people recognizing us and recognizing our work and being appreciative. So it goes a long way. And you know, I always tell them I wish I was not on TV. I wish I was not talking about the things we're talking about, but it's just a reality of the work that we do. So we're going to do everything possible to continue to do all of this work. So I really appreciate that, and thank you all for constantly being responsive to that. This is the work that's sometimes thankless, but you know, we know that we make impact every day. To all of our clients who are heroes because they bring forth cases that we can change the world with. Because our clients have to be brave enough to even stand against oppression, to demand their rights. You know, I call them heroes because they're not, you know, they're not just clients. They are people who, you know, want to get a solution, but really also know that the consequences sometimes of seeking those solutions. So it's a powerful group of folks that I think history will be kind to them, because they stood against oppression, and they've given us the opportunity to help them, you know, with our limited resources in the best way possible. So, you know, and with Trump, you know, the 4 years of Trump were very difficult. But for the first time, we saw a great deal of support from our allies, you know, not only fundraising and financially supporting us, but actually becoming more, you know, supportive of CAIR and the mission that we do. And so we saw that all over the state of Minnesota and across the country. So, so thank you, Zainab, for bringing that up. You know, my story to CAIR is that you know, the family of CAIR-Minnesota who founded this organization. You know, I've been always a family friend with them, and I've really enjoyed them. In fact, I think earlier today I was watching an old video of one of the CAIR banquets, and to seeing so many of the same donors, some of the same people who were at that event, just again to show that this community is really invested in this work and invested in all the work that we do. So it's a very, very powerful time that we are living in, and it's a time for us to continue to do that. So we're now about 10 minutes away, I believe, from countdown. Let's see if Muhammad is a man on the street yet. Muhammad, are you a man on the street yet? Let me pull Muhammad. You're not man on the street yet? that's yeah, that's what the reporters usually say. They're like, let's just get a man on the street, or a woman on the street. Let's get a woman on the street. Just some random person on the street.
I'm currently reporting live from the front of the drawing, and the scene is quiet, beautiful cloud in sight, waiting for a storm to come. You know.
Okay.
So alhamdulillah now, and it's fairly quiet. So
yeah. And I just want at this moment to recognize, I know today a community leader there was buried, Brother Liban. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be mercy on his soul and grant him the best of this dunya and akhirah, and grant him the Jannatul Firdaus. He was someone who many people knew. I personally knew him knew him because I sent money in his business, and he was tragically killed by someone who's now, I think, been caught. And so the Cedar community is really remembering him and his family. He left behind, I think, his wife and some children, and just a very tragic story of what took place. And hopefully we get justice for him as well. But yeah, so it's just a reality where we live in, and we're going to continue to be together as a community. So, but yeah, Steve Riverside, the community is still shaken from the killing of Liban. Yeah, so that said, I'm gonna take now the last 5 minutes. I know many of you have been watching, and some of you have fallen off, and you know, if you could stick with us, we'll give you the Adhan call. You get a special Adhan call from Steve Riverside. And then as the Adhan call comes to an end, we'll conclude. But I want to go back to my couple of things. So I don't know why the giveaways are important, but the giveaways are really important, especially the pop sockets. The burgundy is gone. The burgundy is gone. Ahmed got the last piece. Ahmed did. And then we've got the prayer mass, as I just mentioned, and then the little things. And we still have, I think, one more of those mystery boxes probably left. So as we're kind of getting down, if you haven't donated yet, please donate. Go to CAIR-MN.com/Ramadan. You can watch it from there as well. So if you're wondering, oh, am I gonna stop the stream? No, you can continue watching it from the website too. The stream is live there from the website as well. So that would be amazing to see all of you do that at this moment. And this is Ramadan countdown. So let me just tell you, so it's like Ramadan usually the last 5-10 minutes when we are usually oh, is that Farida?
Yes, it is. I gotta get her in here.
Okay. Farida's getting, Farida knows it's about to be Maghrib. But yeah, so you know the last minutes of the iftar, usually it's like when we start preparing and planning for you know, that food, and usually we just, you know, it's for those who don't know, like for the beginning is usually just dates and water and dates and something to drink. Sometimes we get with the fried stuff like the sambusa or samosa, which are amazing, by the way. If you have not had one in Minnesota, you're probably missing out. Like, you're missing out the best Minnesota has to offer, including the lafsa and all the other things that Minnesota has to offer. I think it's a good time to talk about food, but like, I think, what's the burger with the cheese inside? Nuke?
The Juicy Lucy.
No,
Juicy Lucy.
Juicy Lucy, yep.
That came out of Minnesota.
Yep, Juicy Lucy, and then we've got the sambuse. I think we have a lot of Hmong food from here, and then we have the pho, the Vietnamese pho. That's a Minnesota thing. Of course, the hot dish. God knows what's in it.
Oh, hot dish.
Tater tot hot dish. Right? Is that right? Am I just making stuff up? No, tater tot hot dish, and then you've got lafska, which, by the way, we have malawah, and then what's that fish thing? I always could forget. What's the gooey fish?
Ooh.
Lutefisk.
Lutefisk. There you go. Lutefisk. You know, by the way, there's a church. There's a Lutheran church in Stillwater that offers all you can eat lutefisk. At least I saw the moniker said that. So I don't think I made it out there that day, but I'd love to make it that day. But yeah, I think what is another Minnesota thing, I guess. I don't know. Tater tot hot dish. But anyways. All right, so we got 4 more minutes. Any last thoughts, ideas, guys, since I have you all here? And then we're gonna give Muhammad the final goodbye.
No. Alhamdulillah. I think it's been amazing. It's been wonderful. Thanks so much for everybody that has donated and for supporting the work. And we would not be able to do this without any of your support. So jazakumullah khair. And this is really, CAIR-Minnesota is really a reflection of the community, and really, inshallah we can continue to do this work. And I pray that we do not have to continue to do this work whatsoever. And it seems like we do have another update, Tracy, or if Kate wants to kind of jump in real quick, or Patty.
I'd like to jump in because we just received a $2,500 donation. Woo!
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
That's wonderful.
I want to jump in and thank all of our donors who were here, and also thank the team for putting in all of the hard work, giving up part of your Friday evening to, be here for the fundraiser. So thank you for that. Thank you to the board. It's a great team to be part of.
It is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just seeing the donor texting me right now, so he might be putting in his donation soon. No, thank you so much. And also, I wanted to, I forgot to mention, obviously, our one of our hardest working Vistas, Melissa, who's been amazing work. I know she was with us earlier. And then our amazing interns, we can't live without them. Those interns are amazing. They do great work. Amazing work. So thank you to our interns. Melissa does our diversity and inclusion training, and we've got a lot of them coming up in May and a lot coming up in June. And we're going to have our nationally renowned, the largest conference on challenging Islamophobia. We've been doing this now for 4 years, and last year we had to cancel it. So we're rescheduling it now later this year in October. You'll have more coming up about that. It is going to be the largest conference in the country discussing Islamophobia with national and local experts. And so we're really excited. It will be virtual just to make sure that we can get everybody in. But we're really excited about the potential of that conference. And so I encourage all of you to look. We're anticipating almost 500 members, 500 people to be participating, not up to almost 1,000 people. So we look forward to seeing you to be part of that, because we want to end Islamophobia. We want to really challenge and end Islamophobia. So, all right, Mohammed, looks like we're about 1 minute out. Do you want to just knock in the list and see if they're... All right, we're getting close to the... So we're getting close to...
Yeah, as you see, so right now we're in the middle of Cedar, waiting in front of Darul Hijrah Islamic Center, waiting for the adhan to kind of start up, inshallah. So as you see, folks are kind of starting to kind of walk in into the masjid with food in hand, and I did see somebody holding 2 cups of tea earlier, so I think he's getting ready, inshallah. So as you see, that's see if I can flip the camera here. So this is the Darul Hijrah Islamic Center, and as you see, it's in the middle of the Cedar Towers. So we're waiting for the adhan to kind of start up, as you see, folks are kind of walking in and with food in hand, trying to enter the masjid as well, inshallah. So we're about a couple minutes away here, inshallah. Yep, as you see, they're about to start up here shortly.
All right, everybody. I think that's the end of the adhan. That's the end of our program tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for donating. I don't think we have a full total yet. I know there's still people donating. I'm still getting text messages and things like that. So I look forward to seeing you all, but I think we've had a successful so far donation fundraiser, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully soon. Thank you for your support. All right, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum.